Hello and welcome to another Python tutorial. My name's Tom with LearnPythonTutorial.com, and today we're going to talk about the list built-in function. The list built-in function will iterate through our argument and create a list out of it. So let's take a look. First, let's not give an argument to our built-in function and see what happens. So the list function looks like this: list, and then parentheses, and then if we hit return, we're going to get an empty list. Alright, that's kind of like just creating a list. Oops, that's a dictionary. List like that. Alright, so list like this creates an empty list. Now, it's important to understand what's iteratable. Strings are iteratable, other lists are iteratable, tuples are iteratable, dictionaries are as well, numbers, integers are not. So let's first do a string as an argument. So let's go MISSIPPI. Alright, so here's our argument in our built-in function, and when it runs this, it's going to put each one of these as its own object in the list and comma separate them. So hit return, and as you can see, we returned a list, and each character in Mississippi is separated by a comma, so it's its own object now. So it iterated through it. So to better understand this, we haven't seen for yet, and what for is like for I, which is I is going to be each character in here. All right, for I in, and we're going to do MISSIPPI. Alright, colon, and then two spaces, and then we're going to do print I. Alright, and the reason why I'm doing this, we will talk about the for statement more in a later tutorial, but why I'm doing this is to help you better understand what happens here. Alright, so I hit two returns. First return will not kick you out of it, so you have to hit two returns. And what happens here is the same that's happening up here. Alright, this one puts them each on a new line. The for statement will put them all on a new line, and the list will put them into a list but comma separate them. So what happens is for I, so each time this will run each time. Every time it hits a character, it's going to say, okay, there's one, there's another character, there's another character, and it's going to separate them. Alright, in the for statement, it puts them like this. So it hits M, it's going to print M. Hits I, it's going to print I. It hits S, it's going to print S. Another S, and so on. Well, the same thing happens up here in the list built-in function. It hits M, and it's going to throw M into its own object area in the list. Hits I, does the same thing. S, same thing. S, same thing. I, same thing. S, same thing. So that's what happens there. Alright, and I hope the for statement didn't confuse you. I know we haven't talked about it, but you'll get a better understanding down the road what's happening. So every character it hits, it's going to print that character. Alright, and it prints it on the new line. Versus this, every time it hits a new character, it's going to make its own object in the list. Alright, so I'm going to clear this. Now, we can also like iterate through other lists. So if I made a list like dog, cat, fish, and close out that list, and close out our function, hit return. Basically, it just returns us another list, the same thing that we put in here. So it really doesn't do anything if you call it on a list. Now, we haven't talked about dictionaries, but in a dictionary, it's curly brackets. The first section of the list is going to be the key, so we can say animal. Alright, and then colon, and then our value, which is going to be dog. Alright, and then comma. And let's see, let's do another one. Color. Alright, colon, so this is the key right here. And then the value, we'll say blue. And then we'll close out our dictionary and close out our function and hit return. What it does is it takes our keys, animal and color, and puts them into a list. Alright, it omits the value dog and blue. Alright, so that's what happens when we use the list built-in function on the dictionary. Now, how about if we use the list built-in function on a tuple? So with the tuple, we just do list, and we're going to put another parentheses, and now we're creating a tuple. We haven't talked much about tuples either, but just bear with me. My name, dog's name, my son's name. Alright, so here's our tuple. I hit return. It's going to take our tuple and convert it into a list. Alright, so that's what happens when we call a list on the tuple. So, once again, with a string, we'll do dog. It iterates through each character. So every time it hits a character, it's going to put it as its own object inside a list. Alright, because lists contain objects, other objects. With a tuple, it just basically converts the tuple into its own list, because these are already objects contained in a tuple. With the dictionary, it takes the keys, it makes a list out of the keys. So the first first content in the dictionary is the key. So this is a key. This is a key. Alright? And puts them in a list. And then with the list, it just repeats the list. So that's the list built-in function. Oh, actually, that is not the list built-in function. I want to show you what happens if we do integers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright? Integers are not iteratable. So if we do list 1, 2, 3, 4, you would think it would look something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 in a list. Well, it does not. It's not going to work that way. So return, and we get type error. Int objects are not iteratable. So we cannot do integers like this. So if we want to put integers into a list using the list function, which would not make much sense, it just sounds like we'll be doing a lot of typing. But we could do it like list, and then we do a list inside the list built-in function. Do 1, 2, 3, 4. Close out our list. Close out our built-in function list. Hit return, and that's how you would do it. But why would you do something like that when you can just, type the list out? There's no reason to call the list function on this, because you're actually just typing it out. So that's about all for the list built-in function. If you have any questions, leave a comment on YouTube or on our website, learnpythontutorial.com. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video, and we'll see you in the next one.